Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. You know, it's your boy Soji, Push Mode Production. And we have a lot of things to talk about that we're still there. And we're still on the massive far right. Understand me? Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megan Kelly, and Alex Jones, where I try fight Mr. Trump. You understand what I'm saying? So I get into some details. I'm going to listen. They ain't a lie. As I tell you, it's like listen a conservative point. You understand me? So go jump in it, you know.
You know I cried a lot.
You gotta go.
You know all of this pain, but you still make a game. Sick of mind. Because you care no more. Because you go no more. Because you won't let go. And then you just don't show. You know all of this pain, but you still make a game. Sick of
Yes. Tell us how this we are jumping right now. Make we hear what one. Listen.
You are being baited into this so hardcore. And the moment I see, because I've had people like try to criticize me and say, oh, you're just being a Catholic hater. Well, that's ignorant because half my family's Catholic. That is an ad hominem that seeks to discredit legitimate observations by making it seem like they come from a place of bias, which they don't. I'm literally just observing what is happening and remarking on it, which everyone else can also see, you know. Very simple. But I think that people, especially, what I don't get is if I would want someone, if I was somehow not following or not understanding that someone was trying to undermine my faith for a political purpose, I would like to think that my brothers and sisters in the kingdom would say something. And especially if it is my particular denomination that I seek to protect, I would like to think that, you know, I would be able to call that out in order to protect the faith, right? That's the question. There is no one that is beyond criticism, especially when they are behaving in a manner that justifies criticism. You know, I've criticized, you know, my pastor before, my previous pastor. I've criticized everybody, doesn't matter where. And I also think that it's overly simplistic to say that everyone who isn't Catholic is Protestant. I would not describe myself as that. I'm non-denominational. I'm a Church of Christ Christian. That's it. And there are a lot of other people that are like that. It's just it just betrays, I think, a concern. And the concern should be shared by everyone who wants to protect their houses of faith from being infected and weaponized against the thing for which they are witnessing, that weaponizes them, it weaponizes their faith. And so I'm immediately suspicious of people who are overly hostile, because people who are overly hostile in response to all of that, I feel like they are overcompensating for something. That's just not a position that someone who has good faith, that's not a reaction that they should have, right? Isn't it suspicious if they're incredibly hostile when they react? Yeah. But it's this red-green alliance. And part of this too dovetails in with the coalition with the right, because you've heard everybody from Marjorie Taylor Greene to all these people say that it's the MAGA's dead. MAGA, and I would not classify myself as MAGA. I've said this before. I would not say that I am MAGA. That doesn't mean that I dislike Trump or that I haven't voted for him, right? I don't even really understand what that means to be that way. Does that mean you are you're incredibly hardcore or what? I mean, everybody wants to make America great. They want to keep America great. But I'm not a joiner also. But the coalition, the people who
Greetings, my people. Welcome to the Bushmouth channel. You don't know there. It's your boy Stoji Sucker. You don't know. See me just continue to listen. We're there upon some topic about the Christian thing where Trump really go ahead. And sometimes when I agree with everything, but I mean, you understand me, it's not fear will beat him still that will lead the same way. So we just get few points across because the Democrats run with a whole heap of things. The custom with the Pope. The Pope is wrong. You understand me? Because the Pope now bring out a whole heap of things where him need to bring out to a go another world where him can pay attention. The Pope will be political. You understand me? So we could go in at the video still because I want to do too much.
Who are trying to say MAGA is dead are people who were never conservatives to begin with. And the people who knock the conservatives for making this point, they don't even understand what conservatism is. Do you realize that one of the reasons we are not at the gates of hell as a country is because of conservatism? Everyone always asks, well, what has conservatism done? If you I'm sorry, but if you have to ask that, then maybe you should learn a little bit more before you start criticizing. You're not qualified enough to be the teacher. You're still the student. It's true. And I think you would agree, Kane, we would have lost everything if it hadn't been for conservatives fighting tooth and nail. And unfortunately, that's where it is. It's society at large. It's the right. Now we have our coalition, which I don't even think the coalition is totally fracturing. A lot of people are trying to use everything from the border to Iran. And now this red-green alliance and this Duganism, this multipolarity stuff, they're all of this is an opt to try to fracture entirely the right. And they're not entirely unsuccessful. I think that people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't think she was ever a conservative to begin with. And there's nothing in her behavior, and I'm just using her as an example, not to just pick on her, but there's nothing in her behavior that leads me to believe that she's a disciple. It's one thing to say that you're a Christian. It's another thing entirely to say you're a disciple. And there's nothing in her behavior, affairs and making money through insider trading, allegedly. I mean, you go in with what, 700,000, you leave with 25 million. It's not because you're a genius at trading or the stock market. There's just the stuff there that, betrays that stated claim. And whether you admit it or not, internally, you just dismiss her observations. You don't take them as seriously as you would say someone that doesn't have the baggage that betrays their stated faith. Just saying, nobody's perfect, but the point is to try, right? The point is to try and not mislead people. Like people like Tucker Carlson, who kind of poke around in the Bible and then try to teach on the Bible. These people need to be very, very careful about claiming the mantle of shepherd.
Disgraceful. These were people who used to listen, used to listen and used to have respect for them. But nowadays them not making no sense. Making no sense. So I say more of it.
Think clearly, if they really believed in scripture, if they really, really believed in their heart of hearts, the faith that they claim, they would not be rushing to claim this mantle of shepherd while doing the stuff that they're doing, because the expectations for those people are incredibly high. And the penalty for misleading people is brutal. And I don't know anybody that would fervently believe that, earnestly believe that, and still go off and and do the stuff that they do for content and clicks. They're just completely competing ideas. So this is a weird time for the right, because on one hand, you get the appearance of a lot of people being led to faith. But then on the other hand, when you see the stuff that they're saying, you start questioning that journey. And you start wondering if it's not being weaponized for something else. Then you see people say that you can't be a Christian and not think that, and not share their beliefs, which are Gazan beliefs on Israel. Everything is deduced down to A or B. You're a Zionist or you're not a Zionist. You're a Catholic or a Protestant. Good grief. Are we back in like the time of the Huguenots back in France? For crying out loud, this is wild. This is why history definitely is repeating itself. But the coalition, they want you to believe that the coalition is dead, and it's not dead, but people are trying for sure. They definitely want it to be so. And this is part of the series that we've been doing on the war for the soul of the right, the battle for the soul of the right, because it is a very serious thing. And I am worried that it will start affecting midterms. That's a legitimate concern, I think, that people can have. It's a legitimate concern. But, you know, at the same time, we live in an era where we have more access to information than we ever have before, but we also have more opportunities for misinformation and confusion. And there's so much out there at this point. It's like, what is it? Yeah, it is like identity politics. It all comes down into that. You have people that are making identities of, they're making idols of process instead of just Jesus. You have people who are making idols of a political position instead of Jesus. That's a major problem. So none of the stuff about people coming to faith or the increase in this and that means anything if they're not really coming to faith. Otherwise, you're getting snowed. They're getting snowed. What a devilish trick, too. Remember, the devil can't create anything. He can only pervert, pollute, mislead. Making people think, this is very Screw Tape Letters, making people think that they've come to faith when really they haven't. They're not really. They're going through the motions. They made process an idol. They state it, and they wear their cross necklace on TV, and they'll state it on social media. I'm telling you, the battle ends and begins with the church. It ends and begins with people of faith. And there is a huge opportunity. There's a huge op right now underway targeting that. I mean, for crying out loud, I told you, what was it, earlier this week or last week, the Spanish prime minister was quoting Alexander Dugin. You got to see some of this crazy stuff that Mystic Dugin has written about religion, has written about faith. This guy is not a person of faith. This guy was a Satanist. He literally was a Satanist. And I mean, I don't know how you're promoting that while also saying that you're promoting the gospel. It's all for division. It's this red-green alliance that's also working with it. There's just be aware of this. Be aware of it. I see this like the Candace Owens stuff. I hate talking about. I don't like talking about her because I just think she's cheap content. It's just debasing. There was a video where she was saying, 2 videos that were edited together, where she was talking about people who are like, I don't want to play this audio, where she was talking about people who looked like they were hybrid robots. And she was naming, certain tech people. And then she named Erica Kirk. And then in another clip, she was talking about how, if you stabbed these hybrid robots, they wouldn't bleed. So by her including Erica Kirk in that description, and the one where she was talking about stabbing the hybrid robots apparently was an older clip. So she's in a newer clip referring to Erica Kirk as being one of those things, which, what does that suggest to you? I don't know. I think she's nuts. And I think that opt to try to hijack TPUSA is starting to fail. I think that's now starting to be fully realized. But and Owens is a leftist. Owens was never a conservative, ever. Never a conservative, never a person of faith. You would not, someone who lives like that betrays their stated claim of faith. There is nothing in that behavior that is Christ-like. Not a thing in that behavior that is Christ-like. There's certainly a lot of stuff in that behavior that is very demonic. And I've seen it work, though. I've had people ask me about Erica Kirk. And I've looked right in people's faces, and I'm like, you need to remember your faith and remember what Christ calls you, how Christ calls you to treat widows. I have absolutely set some people straight to their face. Like, I can't believe that this is how far this stuff can reach. Look, things on social media aren't real until they are. And then the stuff like with Carlson, everybody thinking that Israel is the issue. Everyone thinking that Iran was because of Israel. And then we had that one post that POTUS made where, good heavens, just craziness. But, I really don't want to play 12. Do I want to play 12? It's just so cheap. I guess you can go ahead and do it. Good grief. Ugh.
She's a female. She's I'm just scared. And I'm looking online and people are saying they're just saying that they want me to die. And I'm just so overwhelmed right now, Mr. Vice President. I'm just so overwhelmed. Dab, dab, dab. no tears. I'm so overwhelmed. And he was probably like, oh my God. And my kids, I just don't want my kids to be an orphan, Mr. Vice President. I know.
She's like making fun of Erica Cook. Do you remember when Candace Owens tried to convince everybody that the French government was going to assassinate her? If you want to talk about diabolically hyperbolic, over dramatic females. People like watching, actually, the people are watching her less, but I think they rage watch. That's a real thing. It's a hate watch. It's a legitimate thing. But it is
some food to
it's
people.
just wild. What a weird.
As I say, Candice, when these are conservative people, commentators, I'm thinking, I don't know why them just switch up, But I remember when Candice was, them call Candice to come do a debate, Turning Point, and she said she's scared of the French government. I don't come out. I remember good on American style. Say if the lady scared because of what you talk about her husband. Man, it's time now to stop. That's all. It's time now to stop. Her husband dead. And from her husband dead, you make 60-something million, probably more, just by talking about her husband. It look like your husband. Look like you miss him more than her. It's crazy. We could continue that conversation, though.
Time for the right now. Stay focused, though. What is the ultimate goal? To win midterms. And we're going to have some troubles with the House. I think we'll keep the Senate, but the House is going to be a battle. And I'm telling you, if we lose one or both, that's it. All of the stuff that Trump has done up to this point is going to be gone. Everything. You will not have any more. If we lose the House, you will not have any more tax relief. There will not be any more financial overhauls. There will not be any cutting of spending. There will not be any reduction of waste. There's not going to be a single thing. You are going to give it all up. And if the people who are, for instance, like Iran's been used as a cudgel. If people dislike Trump's policy, get over it. You're going to allow a high tax commie who wants boys in your girls' bathrooms to win and control Congress and control Senate and get a leg up for 28? Because that's the alternative. You go to war with the soldiers you got. Hey, friends, quick ask. If you're enjoying the show, hit follow on this podcast and leave a quick rating and a quick review. It makes a huge difference. And the more you do that, the more that the tech overlords have to show our show to new people. So hit follow, drop a review, and help us grow this community. So I used to think that a mattress was, it's just furniture. But the first night that I slept on my ghost bed, I was like, this is what sleep is supposed to feel like. I didn't want to get up and I wanted to quit life and just live all forever in my bed. It was instantly comfortable. There's no adjustment. It's no, I'll break it in and get used to it. I mean, you can tell right away. The quality is just different. Everything else feels like trash. The material felt better. I mean, better than I had an old bougie, super expensive mattress. And this thing makes it look like great value. I'm not kidding. I hated that old mattress so much. I would have burned it in my backyard if my husband would let me. But Ghost Bed doesn't make mattresses like furniture. They make them like performance sleep systems. So this is about recovery and support and real comfort. And they're American made and family owned and operated. So that makes me feel better because, what I'm sleeping on every night is created by a family business. So you even get 101 nights to try it at home yourself, risk-free. And if you don't feel the difference, you can just send it right back. Visit ghostbed.com/Dana. This is the mattress I sleep on, and use promo code Dana. And right now they're offering all of you out there in radio land and TV land their lowest prices of the season. Plus, you get an extra 10% off site-wide. That's ghostbed.com/Dana, promo code Dana. He was asked he was talking about these protesters that are going to be executed by Iran for taking part in dissent. They are, and it's a true story. He was being asked about this. I think this was outside of the White House yesterday because if they're able to catch these protesters, they put them to death. That's the way it is. And he was asked about this. Listen to this exchange here. This is cut 1.
Iran's going to execute 4 more protesters, accordingly, including the first woman protester. What do you tell Iran?
Well, tell that to the Pope. What do you say? Tell that to the Pope.
You want to patch things up with the Pope?
That Iran is going to... Did you just hear that? Iran is going to execute 4 people, including a woman?
Tell that to the Pope, he said. So here's where we are. There, I've told you this before. This is this red-green alliance. Everybody knows what the red-green alliance is, right? You have the red communists that are siding up with the Islamists in the shared goal to destroy the West. That is the red-green alliance when you hear it mentioned. In some countries, it might mean, the socialist plus the environmental wackadoodles, but by and large, it's the communist red aligning with Islamist green, looking at the Iranian color of green, because that's the color that they use for their flags and kerchiefs, all that stuff. And the shared goal is to completely destroy the West. And you cannot tell me that this isn't. I had somebody try to tell me that the Pope wasn't leftist. And it's like, you can still be of your faith without defending that. There's nobody infallible except for Christ. You can still be of your faith and also say, this is leftist. It is. There was a really good piece. Let me pull this up, actually, if I can find it. There was a really good piece that was done. It was written on social. It was on social media. And Jesus Enrique Rosas, who is like a body language guy. And he was talking about how the Pope met with David Axelrod last week. Literally the guy who shepherded Barack Obama's entire campaign. And he said, he wrote a man who is not Catholic, who has never met a Pope before, whose entire career has been engineering political narratives for the American left. And then by pure coincidence, he writes, the Pope immediately starts lobbing shots at the Trump administration, and 3 U.S. cardinals popped up on 60 Minutes doing the same thing, all organically, I'm sure, he adds. And he adds this, he goes, I'm a practicing Catholic and I need you to understand that. He said, but in my opinion, Trump has all the right to lash out at him. Maybe you'll disagree, but in the end, Trump talks like Trump, water is wet. He says, I'm talking about my church being run like a DNC satellite office, but with a golden throne. He writes, this is the same Vatican that watched governments padlock churches during COVID and said nothing, that let Biden take communion while funding abortion and said nothing, that fired Bishop Strickland for defending actual church doctrine, that removed Bishop Fernandez in Puerto Rico for defending religious exemptions the catechism itself supports. He says, but somehow Trump is the threat to human dignity. He adds, Pope Francis was bad. Leo has turned out to be worse. Francis at least was vague about his politics. Leo went out and hired the consulting firm. The man has ignored the slaughter of Christians across Nigeria, India, Syria, Bangladesh, Pakistan, hundreds of believers murdered, churches burned, pastors kidnapped, and his response is platitudes about dialogue. And he won't even name who's doing the killing, which, by the way, is what I told you last hour. All of the people who've sent me examples when I've asked, well, where's the criticism of this? He has not said Muslim or Islam at all. It is always, oh, well, it's horrible to see what's happening to our brothers and sisters here, but he won't name it. He adds, Rosas adds, the weaponization of belief is obvious. You get the Pope to pick a fight with Trump, and suddenly millions of conservative Catholics have to choose between their faith and their vote. That's the whole purpose. They want Trump to fight with the Pope so people are forced to choose. They want it to seem, it's a false choice, but they want it to seem like that's the choice and you have to make it. Oh, well, now you've got to pick. You got to pick between your faith and POTUS. That's it. You have to pick between, and it's not even your faith and POTUS. It is your faith and your political ideology. That's what they're trying to, it's a psychological tactic to try to pry that apart, because the hand on the rudder of the American right, and really the hand on the rudder for not just the moral trajectory for the West, but for the successes of the West, has been the Christian, the American Christian, with their hand on the rudder of the moral direction. They're going after that. So they want people to think that they have to defend the Pope when criticized and choose between either doing that or their politics. It is a way of trying to psychologically usher people to the left. This is, again, all part of this red-green alliance. I was watching, there was an argument with one bishop, but because there were Catholics, and I saw this because my Catholic friend was arguing with this guy. they were questioning the creation of a Muslim prayer area in the Vatican Library. And the cardinal or the bishop was arguing with my friend, who again, lifelong Catholic. And she was asking, why is this happening? Why is this being included in the library? And he was like, well, it's not in the sanctions. It's not in the church. And she's like, no. It's literally within the walls of the Vatican. I want to know why this is being included in there. She's like, as literally like, I think she said like a 5th or 6th generation Catholic. She's like, I want to know why this is. And he was so dismissive and rude to her. I was shocked. And he said, you don't understand how this works. And she's like, I've literally have been to the Vatican a million times. And she was like, and she was listing the relics, all this stuff, some of which I don't even know about. Like, are you really trying to question the legitimacy of her objection because you're trying to have, for the lack of a better way to put it, like a measuring contest between who's the biggest? I mean, what in the world? And the point stands. So, I mean, you're going to include that in what else would you include there? What if a Satanist said, I'm using the library too. I need to have a space for my worship. Would you put that in there as well? And that was the point she made. She said, okay, say if one of say Satanists wanted to come in and have a space created for their religious observance, because the objection was, well, if they're coming over here to use the library, they have to pray so many times a day. They should just do it here, when they could literally walk down the road and go to a mosque. But whatever.
People like and subscribe to the channel, please. You don't know your boy Soji Saga there, Bushmouth LLC. But when I say about the religion now, sometimes them go too far, man, G. Sometimes them go too far. I have to know Christianity are the only religion that them rank with. Christianity. Oh, you're supposed to have pastor where I tell yourself, say, yo, I'm a preach over Batty wedding. I'm a preach over all the wrong thing when the book tell you that. Nothing not supposed to go so. Oh, you have a pope where he might argue with Trump because the narrative they argue with Trump when everything I go wrong in the world. Over Nigeria, Christian are dead. All kind of rights for Christian, we have to say Christian come like them and delete Christianity. And that you want to fight for? Come on, brother man, go listen. Watch the lady I say again.
Odd. It's incredibly odd. And so this is, and I don't think.
And what some of them money, because some of these people, where you see them talk about the midterm, if we lose the midterm, brother, it makes sense, because some of our data go in some bathroom with some man, we have some tall dick, and say them a woman, and I see them sick in them head. These are where them push, the other party push. So if we don't know why he's up on the pandemic, it better the lesser evil, because a man do one thing, he at war with Iran. Everybody I tell yourself, say, man, go do your research. Do your own research, because I guarantee you 1 or 2 years time, you tell yourself, say, your daughter use a bathroom with a man who have a long dick. Tough man. You understand me I say? Woman come back in a man's sports, or man come back in a woman's sport. It is crazy again, like a whole world, it don't make a change. And I guarantee world, all right, I go that way, yeah. Man and man, woman and woman. When I trouble them over there, so them not trouble we. It's cool. You understand me? But I hear what she says still. I don't know.
Any of this is organic. This is all part of the Red-Green Alliance. That is it. And they think that it's great. They'll get an American leftist as Pope, and they'll kick off this conflict. And I'm telling you, it is. Lorraine's got a piece up about it over at Substack. And that is it. So, I mean, this is the issue that people have to be very aware of. And like I said, this Red-Green Alliance, they had the Pope that said also, he gave an interview where he was discussing how, he cited Lebanon as an example of coexisting peacefully, like a peaceful coexistence between Christians and Muslims. And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa. Do you not know the history of Lebanon? Do you not know that Lebanon was literally created as, what is that shop in Missouri, Kane, where they go, we're the last hope for the persecuted smoker?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but I think of that because Lebanon was created essentially as a haven for the persecuted Christians, specifically Catholics in the Middle East. 1920, French mandate. They established Greater Lebanon for these Christians who were being persecuted. And guess what happened? Muslims they waited, they got their numbers, and then they went to war with them so they could take over the country. The Muslim colonists, the invaders. They had a civil war that lasted forever, and they outright refused to coexist with the Christians that had essentially made them a part of Lebanon. And they killed thousands of Christians, these Muslim invaders, thousands of Christians. Then they took over the country, and then Hezbollah comes in. And they have been at war ever since. So the idea that the Pope, and he's on video of doing it, the idea that the Pope decided to use this as an example of peaceful coexistence betrays the actual history of that region. There isn't peaceful coexistence. There is no peaceful coexistence. That is a lie told to you by the Red Green Alliance that is seeking to make you subservient to Islam by forcing down your throat this absolute just bastardization of faith that they are presenting, and it's Chrislam. The idea that people would promote that without knowing the history, that's how it happened. And then the colonists took over. There has not been peace in that region since. So absolutely, when that can be questioned. And absolutely, the guy's pretty lefty. There is, and it's not just the Catholic Church, there is a war on Christians, period. But they are really trying to use this. It's no coincidence that you have the woke Reich that is promoting communist talking points in Alexander Dugin. The woke Reich, which is trying to sing the praises of Islamism, buying houses in Qatar, and talking about Putin like he's an admirable being. There are no coincidences that you have David Axelrod going to meet with a very far left Pope who was scrubbing his social media before he deleted his accounts, but the screenshots still are there. This is not a coincidence. And I think that Jesus Enrique Rosas is right. They're using it as like a DNC satellite, but it's part of this Red-Green Alliance. You have you have leftists that are trying to hijack an entire church, and they're trying to force people in defending it by acting as though, by trying to do a psychological trick on them, by making them think that their faith is under attack when it's actually the leftists that are trying to hijack it that are being criticized. They're programming these people to defend what they're doing. That is the reality of what is happening. And there are people who are being taken in by it. And this is all to destabilize the West entirely. You're expected to just trust the government or some rando insurance agent to steer you right on Medicare. And that's exactly how people end up stuck in plans that don't really fit their lives. Insurance companies often push plans that pad their profits, but they don't do anything to protect your health. So that's why you need to know about Chapter. Chapter is the only advisor that compares and recommends every Medicare plan nationwide. So you actually get coverage that fits your doctors and your prescriptions and your budget. By doing things the right way, Chapter helps people save an average of $1,100 a year. And best of all, talking to Chapter is free and fast. It's under 20 minutes, and they can review your coverage, explain your options in plain English, and help you feel confident about your choices. Whether you're already on Medicare or will be soon, don't go it alone. I'm proud to recommend Chapter to you because they make Medicare simple, they make it straightforward, and focused on what's truly best for you, not the insurance companies. So take control of your Medicare. Dial pound 250 on your phone and say the words My Medicare. That's pound 250 and say the words My Medicare. I don't even know how to set this up. I don't think there's a way to set this up. I think we just got to go right into it. This came by way first of a French publication, and for some reason now, Dave, have you noticed that Twitter links are just not working? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Elon, you better fix this stuff. So the story is apparently, it has to do with this Afghan dude who has been arrested for a series of rapes and of goats and sheep in France. I don't know how that works. I'm going to pull this story up, but we're going to have to go a different way because nothing wants to work. This, I read the story this morning. Unfortunately, it was one of the first ones that I read. And I mean, like, quite literally, they were discovering that on this, people were discovering that the sheep were tied up and they were bleeding and it was horrific. And oh my gosh, Kane. And they took the guy into custody. I mean, this is something else. So, and the excuse typically is, well, I mean, maybe you can do that in Afghanistan, but you can't be doing that in France. Actually, should never be doing it. It's disgusting. I don't know. I can't even, I mean, it's all over. They're taking him to court, but what is that going to do? He was taken into custody. He faces charges of animal cruelty, and it's punishable by up to 3 years in prison and a £45,000 fine, rather. And animal rights, thankfully, organizations are getting involved, but apparently they called it a rape spree targeting goats and sheep, and they tied up, and then the heinous acts happened. He apparently brutalized a lamb to the point where it almost didn't live. Yeah. And it's interesting. Do you know the Brigitte Bardot Foundation is involved in getting this guy arrested and all that? She's a big animal rights activist. Yeah. Her foundation is involved in it. He's 19 years old. They apparently were setting up to get him for like 2 months. And I mean, it was a lot. And there's video of it. There's actual video of it, apparently. And I know. Then that's how it ended up. They were wondering why their animals were hurt and injured, etc. And then they saw the video and they were like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So, and it's just a little bit north of Marseille. So they just said a number of them. And farmers, you're a farmer and you're worried about wolves, and if there's wolves there in that part of France, you're worried about all of these other things that could afflict your flock. But the last thing that you think of is a 19-year-old Afghan illegal immigrant who's coming and raping all of your barnyard animals. Now, the crazy thing about this. So I read this story and I was looking on X. There were a number, and these were not rando bunch of number accounts, right? They were actual, like, here's our photo, actual, public individuals, veterans, a number of them veterans who served in Afghanistan. The comments underneath, I'm just going to say, they were not surprised at this story, is how I'll just lay it out. Man, I don't think there's words for that. But hey, what did the Pope say about these guys? Yeah, just be nice. Yeah.
They love Jesus.
Exactly. Now, speaking of Islamism, have you guys been to Jihadi Street? So the PBS Sesame Street, so they apparently decided to do, I don't know, what is it? They have Arab American Heritage Month. And they had this one guy, Rami Youssef, he's actually pretty lefty. He's like a pro-Gaza and pro-Hamas kind of thing. So they were teaching kids Arabic words. I'm just wondering if it's like A for Allahu Akbar and I for infidel and
B for bomb.
Yeah, B for bomb and, R for raping everything. I'm just wondering if that's
C for caliphate.
But C is for caliphate. A is for the one-legged gay Ayatollah. This is cut 24. Listen.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Rami Youssef.
Oh, it's almost Elmo. Mr. Rami, what does salam alaikum mean?
Well, salam means peace, and it's a way to say hello in Arabic.
Oh, cool. Oh, salam alaikum, everybody.
Elmo and I are here to wish all of you a happy Arab American Heritage Month.
Yeah, happy Arab American Heritage Month.
I'm so proud of my Arab heritage, and I'm so happy to share this month with my fellow Arabs and Elmo. So, thanks, Habibi.
Oh, wait a minute. What's Habibi?
Oh, it's an Arabic word for a special friend.
Really? Well, happy Arab American Heritage Month, Habibi. We love you.
Kane.
What? What do you want?
Why do we have to have heritage months for everything? It's so stupid. I don't want it for anything.
And by
I
the
don't
way,
want a single one for any single anything.
Does it have to be on some global calendar for you to like celebrate it? Like
I
why
wasn't
can't-
going to be able to celebrate my heritage until the United States made it Heritage Month.
Right. Like celebrate whenever you want.
Why
Nobody's
is it a
against that.
month also? I don't know. Because there's like more than 12, different, if you want to break down all the groups, there's more than 12 of them. What? Just get a day. Veterans get a day. Fallen veterans get a day. Are those fallen in bat? I mean, they get a day. Everybody gets a day. Mothers get a day. Fathers get a day. But we're giving like gay pride a whole month. And then you have all of these other different heritage. I don't care. I don't want to look, e pluribus unum. I think it's all communist. I think having a day set aside, I don't like National Women's Month. I think that's stupid. I think it's all stupid. It's all communist as a way to divide everybody and get everybody focused on everything but e pluribus unum, because that is the biggest threat, is unity under the banner of freedom. It terrifies tyrants. So they got to have, shouldn't you honor your whatever heritage? You can honor your heritage every day. I have friends that come from every walk of life, a million different countries, speak a million different languages, different denominations, all of it. And everybody's American. And they are proud of their heritage every day. They don't need a special month for it. And you don't have to go on public broadcast that's funded by taxpayer dollars to sit here and do it either. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of all of it. Goodness. I see it like someone who, can I just say also too, I'm also tired of women-owned, everybody's saying women-owned businesses. Do guys go out and say men-owned businesses? It's a male-owned. I get it. Some people will say, but Dana, it's been historically male-dominated. Okay, either you want inclusivity or you don't. Because by constantly putting all of this stuff out there, these little hyphen everything, you're not going to get inclusivity. Which brings me to the point about the aliens, like actual space aliens. When they come and decide to colonize all of us, we're not going to be able to use any of this stuff because they're not going to care. I just hope that when space aliens do come, they're not a bunch of welfare queens. I hope, you know what I mean? I hope that what marketable skill do you have? I have no problem sitting down, a little gray, face dude with saucer eyes and being like, yo, what can you provide? Like, what can you do? It's not what we can do for you. It's what you can do for us. What can you do, Slick? I don't care. Time up in bureaucratic hell. Do what we do best, right? Send him to the damn DMV. Sorry, you can't talk to our leader until you get a driver's license. So let's go to the DMV. Because the reason we brought this up is because Stephen King's doing an alien movie. And Kane's like, yeah, that says it's more truth than fiction. He and Juan are sitting over here in the corner. I've never heard two people more confident, especially Juan. Juan talks like he knows them, like he has met space aliens.
By the way, it's Spielberg, not Stephen King.
Oh, Spielberg. Did I say Stephen King?
Yeah,
Wrong, Stephen. Oh, that's a horrible mistake. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Spielberg. I didn't mean to compare you to a guy who gets lazy halfway through his book and then just finishes it with a ridiculous ending.
Thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome. So Juan is positive that they're here. He thinks that aliens are hanging out.
What he first said was that he doesn't think that they're dangerous, right? We were having that conversation. We're like, do you think aliens are dangerous? And some of us were like,
presupposes that they're already here.
They could be dangerous, right? But if they were, wouldn't they, if already here, wouldn't we already be like cattle and be slaughtered? Sure, there's some butt probing going on apparently, but would we be cattle? You know what I mean? But so I would say because we're not cattle, that they're probably not that aggressive.
But that actually begs the question, to use this correctly, because people in my house don't understand this phrase. You're assuming that the premise immediately is valid. Therefore, the conclusion is they're probably friendly.
Yeah, they're probably friendly. If they're already
but that
here.
assumes that they're here and they're just chilling. What if they're not here yet? What if what if they're like getting ready to do something malicious? We don't know. What if they bait us into fighting with each other and they spoof like the U.S. doing something to China or China doing something to the U.S.? I mean, imagine, the last.
So they do deep state stuff?
Yeah, like they're the ultimate deep state. I think if there are aliens living amongst us, and they have been, they're CIA members. They're in the CIA. Everyone's like, oh, what about the Mason? No. It's they're in the CIA. I'm
get our audio signal shut down. You better chill with that stuff.
I'm going to have to do like our friend. So our friend who came over here from Albania left when he was a very young man, fled Albania. He's an older gentleman, very nice guy. And when he finally got to call back to his village in Albania, like 3 years after he left, he had to be very careful because the commies were listening to everybody's conversations. And so he had to say things like, oh, the US, they're so mean to me. Oh, the food here's bad. Oh, it's so bad. So they wouldn't feel as though he was trying to basically liberty evangelize his own family, but apparently they could read him well enough where the family knew. But maybe if they're in the CIA, we got to be careful how we talk about it. Like the cheery, interesting alien agency, CIA. See how that works? We got to be a little. But Juan thinks that they're peaceful and they're here and they're just chill. You think that that's probably the likeliest, right?
If they are here. So if they're here, it's probably evident that we're not already cattle and being slaughtered all the time, that they're probably friendly.
How do I know that you're not being programmed by them to tell me this so that I would let my guard down?
Being programmed by them?
Yeah. Did you get probed?
I'm saying that there's a conclusion you can reach here. It doesn't mean that it's absolutely true.
It makes sense, though, when you think about it. I don't think that, I think that you mentioned the probing. Maybe that's what happened to Tucker. Maybe he wasn't wrestling with a demon.
Yeah.
Maybe that was an alien, probing him.
Right.
And that's why he's all weird now. But I have like 2 headlines about this on my rundown, and I keep seeing it every day. There's a whole other thing. I literally have I have a whole section. It's aliens. It wasn't going to come up till next hour. But so for instance, let me just throw this up in your face. The headline is that there's another a senior cyber security, say that fast, official at one of our most secretive nuclear laboratories left behind files after his death that an insider claims reveals that we have long been studying UFOs and that there's apparently images and scientific reports. It's in New Mexico because of course it is. It's about 35 miles northwest of Santa Fe because of course. I mean, that's where all the aliens hang out. They all go out there and they have their Coachella, their own little alien space intergalactic Coachella out there. And the guys, his son was sorting through his personal effects and he stumbled upon these files that were labeled with references to atmospheric anomalies. Woo! The cost of living isn't just high, it's exhausting. And if you've been leaning on credit cards just to cover basics like groceries, gas, and utilities, you're basically paying a survival tax of 20% interest or more every single month. Why keep handing your hard-earned paycheck to the big banks? What I really like about American Financing is that they're helping homeowners use their home equity to pay off that high-interest debt with mortgage rates currently in the 5s. So on average, their customers are saving around $800 a month. Think about it. That's nearly $10,000 a year back in your pocket. It's not just another loan. It's more like a financial reset that can simplify your whole money life. It takes about 10 minutes to find out what you could save with no upfront fees and no obligation to talk to their salary-based mortgage consultants. And if you start today, you could even delay 2 mortgage payments. Give American Financing a call at 866-885-1332. That's 866-885-1332 or visit americanfinancing.net/Dana to see how much you could save. So Zoran Mondani, his wife, who is a big Hamas supporter, she has questioned October 7th. She retweeted people or reposted people on Insta that had said that the rape and all of that took place, that wasn't really a real thing. And she is an artist, but in the sense that Hunter Biden is an artist. Have you seen her work? I can draw this. I'm a horrible artist and I can do what she does. I don't get it. So here's the story. New Yorkers took notice, comes the report, when tax filings revealed the mayor, by the way, whose parents are super rich and he's a giant Nepo baby. When it was revealed that the mayor earned about $145,000 last year. But his wife, Rama Douaj, only did about $10,000. But I thought, she's this big famous visual artist who gets mentioned in Vogue because she's a very far leftist. They say that she does political pieces focusing on Middle Eastern themes. She made $10,010. Have you seen her art again, Kane?
Yeah.
It's not very good.
Yeah, I guess that explains the 10,000 total dollars in a year.
Yeah, that would explain it exactly. They reported no charitable contributions at all on their tax return.
That's surprising.
They said that, well, no, they did donate, but they didn't itemize it. I don't believe you. And the Mandani staff was asked to provide details about any donations that they made, and they couldn't. Now, remember, she uses racial slurs like crazy on social media. There's tons of screenshots. Oh yeah, the big ones. And she questioned even the fact that October 7th, she like cheered. She was like defending the terrorists who carried out October 7th. And she also said that the rapes never happened, all of that stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like she's a fame chaser. She just wants to be photographed. She gives me a very Meghan Markle vibe. She just wants to be photographed. She married into money. She married a Nepo baby. She wants to be photographed. She wants to be celebrated. She wants to be in vogue. She wants to be dressed, but she doesn't really do anything to make that happen. Someone said that she's a trad wife socialist. And I'm like, no, she's not. If she was trad wife, she'd already had a number of kids and they would have been married a lot sooner. And it's not trad. Sorry, but it's not. She wouldn't be working. She wouldn't be an artiste. She wouldn't be drawing the stuff that she draws either. Just saying, if we wanted to have that debate. I don't know, but she always like the social media that she had, like she's one of those women that takes a million selfies. I just find that to be self-aggrandizing and self-obsessive. A million different selfies. What is with that? How did that become a thing? Like people go and take pictures of themselves. It's awkward. It just is so cringy. Can that trend die? So yeah, she's a clout chaser. And she said that the reports of sexual violence, she called it a, quote, mass rape hoax. Oh, wow. Tell that to the women who had their uteruses removed because of the injuries. And she also...
When him done, him left New York in a trouble or free grocery shop. You see when him want to put in the grocery shop? Want to put in the grocery shop when film time done. Free grocery shop, government grocery shop. Tax the rich, Somebody they tell me say they want to move go to New York soon because over there nice. And I say, damn, when people don't understand politics, you see, why yo boy. Them like how me have one big brother there. Every time them the man they go on film where him post the most democratic lie, be a lie. I say, yo, but I him wake up and say, but him now wake. You see me? Man, they hear jump to the Down syndrome part of them. You see me? Yeah, the Down syndrome part of them, the chump Down syndrome, there. It's crazy for real. It's real. You see me? It's real for real. Real something. No joke thing. You see me? But we come to the end of the show today. I come back live later because the traction are forward, It's continue to like the page, promote the page, share, comment where you can comment. You understand me? Traction and we are growing, we have become better. You understand the whole steps? So you don't know the ball game.